Hey there, this is R.A. Menard, Mitraval, and we're about 4 minutes out from 7 o'clock Arizona time. And so I will give a few minutes to see if anybody is eagerly awaiting the talk or wants to join right away. We're about 4 minutes till 7 o'clock Arizona time and waiting to start at that time. Got the background here of some cacti, 3 different kinds of cactus there in those pots, and a hibiscus bush on the right, the wall. This is the backyard on the left. You can just barely see some tomatoes. Oddly enough, I'm trying to grow in the desert. Halfway successfully. Today's going to be about karma. It might be a talk that you think you know really well. You probably heard a lot about karma. I might say some things that you don't think I would, and not say some things that you would think I would. So we'll see. So we're about 3 minutes out now. Might as well mention the backyard here. These talks generally, I'm starting with the backyard here, different views of different things. This is to the left side from the patio. There's a good number of plants there. I've got all kinds of stuff. I've got an oak tree, a lemon tree, an orange tree. I've got some palm trees. And what else? Just stuff. Okay, we're about 2 minutes out. The one in the far pot that has round sections to it, lobes, is a prickly pear cactus. And the closer clay pot there, I believe it might be some sort of a San Pedro cactus, something similar to that, branching out there. And the one that looks kind of flowery, I'm not sure about that one. That might be some kind of special cactus that they've bred particularly, because as you can see, it has pink on the outside of the I guess you'd call them leaves, and it can't live in direct sunlight in the desert, so that doesn't seem very characteristic of a cactus. Well, we're 1 minute out now. Once again, today's going to be karma. And no matter how many or few show up, I will go ahead and do the talk and put it online there. This is the third one, actually the second one on this site, and I only advertised it today, so, and not last time, except for on my own page and stuff like that. So I suppose it will take a while for people to know what I'm doing here. Well, pardon me, 7 o'clock. Anyway, the topic today is karma, and people like to talk about karma. They have a modern American understanding of karma in 2 different ways. In one way, they view it as a sort of a gumball machine. You put a good deed in, you get a good thing in return. You put a good deed in, you get a good thing in return. And of course, that is pretty ridiculous to expect the universe to work that way, like a gumball machine. We can't expect that we're going to do 5 good things for 5 different people today and expect tomorrow we're going to get 5 good deeds from 5 different people. It just seems ridiculous. We do know, however, the second way, that what we're doing is conductive, and people in the American understanding think that it's magical, of course. And I guess that's understandable, because karma is a thing by its very nature that we do not understand. If we knew the cause and effect, we wouldn't call it karma. And so it does appear magical to people. Now, is it magical? How would I know? I don't know every wheel upon wheel of the universe that turns when we do things, and no one does. I I scarcely think that Buddha could have tracked every wheel upon wheel and tracked karma that way. I mean, I don't know, but it seems like it's more than a miracle to do such a thing, even for Buddha. Anyway, we have wheel upon wheel of the universe going, and when I talk about conductivity of practice, karma is included in that. Like if you have a good practice, it's a good thing to do. You've tested it, you've proven it that it's a good thing, and you practiced it, and it was wise and productive and good for everybody. You have a practice there, and if you're doing that thing, it's going to be conductive to other good things that aren't necessarily direct. And you may understand the connections, and you may not. Some of the connections may be beyond human comprehension, certainly. The universe we know is much more vast than we understand. There are more dimensions to reality than we can comprehend, many more than we can see or hear or feel or taste. And all of that's got to be included in the universe, the wheel upon wheel motion. But there might be some things that you could understand if you're learned, if you pay attention, if you're present. You're trying to figure things out, trying to apply conductivity of practice. You may, for instance, let's say you do a good deed for somebody, and they tell someone else, hey, look, that guy over there, he did this thing for me. Let's say in a couple of weeks you have trouble with something and there's nobody there to help you. Well, that person sees you. Well, they've heard about you. They know you do good things. They feel like you're somebody that deserves help. They come and help you. You don't know why. They don't tell you. You don't ask. It just happens. And it seems like you've done a good thing and someone's done a good thing for you. And you don't see the connection, so you maybe assume it's magical. Maybe it very much isn't. I'll give you another example of cause and effect and wheel on wheel. Maybe you feed the birds in your yard. You feed the birds. You make sure to save the spiders. You don't kill them. You let them do their business, and you express a form of love for those creatures. Well, that certainly goes out into the universe, and you can sit out on your back porch, and everybody else in the neighborhood gets bitten by mosquitoes and other insects, and you don't. You don't know why. Karma, right? Well, you might not know that birds eat an enormous amount of insects, and spiders, of course, eat the insects too. So it wouldn't be surprising that you really didn't have any insects in the area if you have a concentration of birds and spiders. So in that instance, it's not magical, but in a way, it's karma, certainly. Now, you may not understand how something works. You know it's true if you've tested it, but you don't know how it works. It's okay not to know how things work. It's okay not to understand everything. You don't need to. There's just no call for it. But you know what's true, and you know what's productive and wise and good for everybody. So you're headed in a direction. You're doing a thing. You're applying what you know is true in a way that creates good karma. And people say karma can go beyond this lifetime. Certainly in the bad way, they say that karma is involved in having a next life that's bad or a bad experience after death. And we don't really know these things. I mean, that's not fact-based discernment. Maybe they're true. Maybe they're not. A lot of people do certainly say that there's an afterlife. What if there is? What if there isn't? I mean, does it matter? Do you not want to do what's best for yourself right now? You certainly do, right? And that conductivity is going to come back around and it's going to help you too. Sometimes you're going to see some karma that seems bad, but it's really good. I'm sure everybody's had experiences where something happened and you're like, oh no, this is a disaster. And then you find out later that's the best thing that could have possibly happened. So sometimes good karma is going to express itself in a way that's stressful to you. People say, tell me, what have I done? Did I do something in a past life? I seem to be suffering something. And who knows? Maybe it's the best thing that could possibly happen to you. Along with conductivity of practice, I do want to mention one teaching of Buddha's directly. There was a guy, and he had his, what was it? Was his father? Yeah, I think it was his father had died, and he was worried about his soul, the afterlife. He wanted him to go to heaven. So priests offered to pray for him, and he said, well, you're just priests. I'm going to go to Buddha. So he went to Buddha, and he says, you're better than a priest. You're enlightened, in touch with the universe, someone who can teach the gods. So if you pray for my father, he'll go to heaven. The priests can pray and he'll go to heaven, but maybe he has a bad life next time. I don't want that. I want him to stay there. If you pray for him, I know you can get him to stay there. And Buddha was like, okay, I'll tell you what, I want you to meet me down by the lake for a ceremony. And he said, okay. He said, I'm going to send somebody with the requirements. You're going to need to bring some supplies. He says, you have money for funeral stuff, right? And he's like, yeah. So he conferred with his people, Buddha did, and he figured out that he wanted something that would float. And so it was between oil and butter, and oil was more expensive. So he went with the decision of butter, and he needed something that would sink, and he decided stones from the edge of the lake. And so he sent for the guy to bring 2 good-sized pots with lids, and to fill one of them with butter, and then to fill one of them with stones at the lakeside, and he'd be there. And so he went, and the guy had done it. He said, I don't know what you're doing, but I don't care. I'm really grateful. And Buddha was like, okay, well, let's just see about that. And he threw both of the pots in the lake. And he said, okay, now smash them with this big stick. And he did, and the butter came to the top of the lake, and the stones, of course, went along the bottom. And he said, well, there you go. He goes, the ways things work. You know the truth of it. You know that oil's going to come to the top. That's what it does. You know that those stones are going to go to the bottom. That's what they do. A person that does bad things, that accumulates bad deeds, builds bad karma in their life, well, they can't do anything but sink. And that's true after life as well. Now, the person that does good deeds, that's good for everybody, that collects good karma, generates that for themselves. Well, that's going to continue after life too. So a person that does wrongful things, they will sink. Nobody can raise them up. And the person that does good deeds, they'll rise. And nobody can keep that person down. Now, I don't know what you think the priests can do, but you can bring them out here and tell them to pray those stones up to the top, or to pray that butter down to the bottom. I invite you to do that. I don't think you're going to find that that's possible. We all know the universal laws by which things work. I can't make your father stay in heaven. He has to go by his own power. He can only go by his own deeds. He can only build his own karma. He can only have his own life practice. And his life practice is over. Yours is still going. So what are you going to do? It's up to you, And as you can well imagine, I suppose that guy wasn't real happy with the lesson. I suppose he mentioned that that big jar of butter was pretty darned expensive, but good thing for an expensive lesson, right? If you build good karma, you have a conductive practice, a practice that's conductive to good things, then good things are going to keep coming back for you. Is this going to be insurance against disaster? No. We all have free will. Karma is like a flowing river, gently flowing. And I don't want you to underestimate what I'm saying here. I don't know if any of you have ever waded out into a river that's slowly flowing to your waist or to your chest, but you get to your waist and it'll carry you away. You get to your chest, there's nothing you can do. That water's going to carry you. If you want to swim across that river, you are not going to swim in a straight line. It's going to be hard for you to get to the same place on the other side, a line from where you left. It's that difficult. So don't underestimate karma. Not at all. Don't underestimate the conductivity of your practice. However, what you do, your intention, that's stronger. So what you do is going to push your physical life more like a raging river. So you have something that moves you and something that pushes you. The thing that moves you will always move you, and you can't do anything in the moment about it. That's karma. If you've built up the bad karma and you have generated this and it's coming back to you, you're going to have to ride it out. You're going to have to do what you could do. The same thing with good. You can't deny these good things for yourself. I don't know why you'd want to, but you can't really do that. You're going to build up karma, and it's going to dissipate. And some of it's going to last and last and last. And this conductivity of practice, this karma that you've built for yourself, it's temporary. It does dissipate. These actions that you do, your lifetime, you are temporary here. But what you give out, the effects, the conductivity, and your direct physical stuff, that stays in the world. Many great people have moved the whole world through what they've done. And believe me, those people had a conductivity of practice. They had discipline. They were not just messing around, either for good or for bad. And, we hear stories about bad people that had maybe an evil king or something that terrorized or whatever. Well, you have to understand, these are stories. It might not really be the truth. But I can guarantee you this. Every single person that moves the world has a conductivity and a life practice. It's not an accident. And a person the effects of their life can move forever. Buddha's been dead a long time. And he's still moving the world. Just imagine. Imagine the karma a person has to build up, the conductivity of their practice, that they're moving the world after a couple thousand years plus. You can do that. Anybody can do that. The world is open for you. Let's say you really have bad karma right now. You can turn it around. Can you make it turn on a dime? Of course you can. No more than you can change that river flowing. You can't make it flow backwards. It's not going to happen. But you can keep moving forward. No matter what level of your life you're at, no matter what practice you have in your life, if you have none, it doesn't matter. People ask me, how would I make a practice? How can I practice what's true? Well, you should be caring about people instead of hating them. So when somebody's a jerk to you, how about don't be a jerk back to them? How about show them a little compassion, because you know that they're a person that suffers and that's why they're doing this. The way you look at it is more important than just trying to not make bad karma. Your perspective can change everything. So the difference between somebody being a jerk to you and it seems like they're just targeting you and they're just evil, and then to change your perspective and seeing them as somebody who suffers, somebody who hurts, and they want you to hurt too because they want somebody to share in it, what they have, not to be so alone and tortured. And, you know, you can't hate a person for that, I don't think, with that change of perspective. Anyway, if you apply the things that you know are true like that with the new perspectives, you will change the direction of your karma slowly. People have problems in life, and we know that all these problems are not just in vain. We know that these problems can build you up instead of just tear you down. Some people have disabilities and they overcome them. Some people have financial problems. Some people have a bad government in their area. Some people have a bad family. Some people live in a place that their food is scarce. All kinds of trials, but all kinds of opportunity too. Some of the most influential people have come from the most culturally desolate places, where it's a backwater place where people just, get along and don't talk to each other and nothing really happens. And that person will come out of there and they'll change things. They'll really put something into the world. They can do it, you can do it. Certainly, if you were born in America, you have so many opportunities that people don't have in other places. Take advantage of it. Don't don't let it pass you by. My advice is to work on your karma, because it is real and it is touching you right now and it touches everybody else. Why would you not want what's best for yourself? Why would you not want to be happy? Of course you want to. I think that's probably about all I should mention for karma right about now. Um, there are other things to mention, but I think I'm going to save that for another day. Ideally, I'd like these talks to be about 15 minutes to 20 minutes. And it seems like that's a talk someone can listen to and not fall asleep. Also, I hope you enjoyed the background. I think it's kind of meditative, maybe, would be the phrase. Scenic and meditative. Anyway, hope you've enjoyed the talk. Every Wednesday, I'm going to do this with a different topic, and I hope I've been helpful for somebody. I wish all the best things in life for you and yours. This is R.A. Menard, Mitrava. Thank you.